Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting semester of Bridge to Brilliance. My name is Woodrow Wilson Wagner, and I have the pleasure of being the Director of Institution Programs here at the University of Houston, Victoria. Bridge to Brilliance, for those of you who have never joined us before, is a really exciting opportunity to give you some professional development. We started this now, I guess, about 3 years ago. And some of the people you see on the screen were there at the very beginning. People like Hunter Follett, people like Kyle Motal, and I know there's some of you out there who were there since the
I think you just muted yourself, Woodrow. Well, don't know what happened, but hey, Woodrow, yeah, he's been around with all of us, and so we're so excited to get this thing going. We got Hunter here. I'm Kyle Motal, UHV alumnus, so we'll just go ahead. I'm going to introduce Hunter because it's quite a lengthy introduction, but it's well-deserved as well. It's just so cool. So you've got to hear his story a little bit, but let me grab it and let's do it. So Hunter Follett, a serial adventurer and owner and operator of businesses across multiple industries. He currently serves as the CEO of Victoria-based Tejas Production Services, a fabricator of oil field production and processing equipment with 140 employees, and CEO of Slidius Process Technologies, an oil stabilization service company for people who like safety, money, or the environment. Prior to joining Tejas in 2018, Mr. Follett served as CEO of CR Ranchwear, a clothing manufacturing and retail business in Dallas, recently featured on Yellowstone, managing member of a small cap private equity fund, site investment buying web-based businesses, CFO of an international exploration company with assets in Indonesia and Oman, and worked as an investment banker in cities' oil and gas sector teams in New York, Houston, and London. Hunter serves on the President's Regional Advisory Board at UHV and previously as chair of the advisory board to the University of Houston Business School. He also serves on the boards of Keep Victoria Beautiful, Victoria Young Professionals, the Young Executives Organization, the Texas Workforce Commission, and as a counselor and advisor to the Dallas chapter of RYLA, a leadership camp for Dallas area 17-year-olds organized by Rotary International. Hunter has been an advisor to the White House on criminal justice reform, has visited 74 countries, owns a 1971 school bus, and has flown a hot air balloon over the Sahara Desert twice. His businesses have sold everything from women's Western shirts, patented medical technology, and oil field equipment to medieval swords. He likes to introduce himself as an international arms dealer since he sold swords to the U.S. and Canada. Hunter, take it on.
Kyle, thanks so much. Guys, let's rock and roll. Thank you for the lengthy intro. Man, I am fired up to speak today. I have been a part of Bridge to Brilliance for 4 years. They never asked me to speak. Finally, here we are. So you guys buckle up. I want to start with two things. First, I want to start with like a little guide, here's a user's guide for getting the most out of the next, call it 45 minutes. I'll tell you, this is like what we're doing today. It's like a 3-hour seminar. We're going to do it in 50 minutes. So like buckle up and get ready. So just a couple of things. Like, first of all, and this might break the internet, but we're going to try it. Can everybody put their video on? I know it's scary. You may be. Oh, there's one. Hang on. Here we go. There's two. Let's go. Come on. Bring it on. Love to see it. Love to see it. Shining, smiling faces. Wow. 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 Boom. Keep coming. Keep sending it. Yes. Filling it out. Love to see it. Bethany Castro. Looking great. Wow. Josephine Taylor. Looking great. Sydney Blankenship. Let's go. You don't need to put on the audio. Maybe later. Okay, cool. I'm going to keep going. I want to see more videos. I got 55 people without video on. And I don't think you get credit for this if you're getting extra credit, unless your video's on, unless you're smiling, unless you've gone and pinned me to the speaker view. Then I'll talk to Donald and we'll make sure that somebody whips you with a wet noodle. Now, here we are. We're going to rip this. Okay, that's the first thing. You got to have your video on. The second thing is, listen, like you're already here, right? You're here. You're stuck with me for 45 minutes. You might as well try to get something out of this. If you want to, if you just want to tune out, cool, just leave. It's cool. You don't need to be here. But if you're here, you're going to be here for 45 to an hour. I want you to try to play full out. And what I mean by playing full out is like, I want you to imagine that you want to jump the Grand Canyon and you're on a motorcycle. And actually, you are the motorcycle. Like, do you want to be at half power? No. You want to have that thing in the red line as you hit that jump. That's where I want you during today. If you play full out, if you have your video on, and this is the next part, got to participate. If I'm like, hey, everybody, like, who believes that, who here has a first name, right? Then go to the little react, raise button, raise your hand. Okay, who here has a first name? Just me? Oh, there's a couple. Robert's got a first name. Cooper's got a first name. Kendall, John, love to see it. Love to see it. Hey, even if you're watching the recording of this, like, I don't know if you could just raise your hand. Just do one of these, like at home. Hey, Loria Walker, I'm worried. There you go. You got a hand. That's it. Love to see it. Okay, great. Everyone put them down. Man, this diagnostic portion of this lecture, of this seminar has gone fantastically well. I see a lot of shining faces. I see a lot of hands. I see a lot of people without their shining faces on, including Woodrow Wilson Wagner, who has promised me that he would smile the entire time we're doing this. All right, the next thing. Okay, so first of all, we talked about having video on. The second thing we talked about is making sure you're playing full out. And guys, I want you to take this next piece because I'm going to give you guys some tools today. You're already here. Might as well give them a crack. I'm going to give you these tools. I want you to learn them like you're going to teach them. Does that make sense? Like, I want you to learn these tools like you're going to teach them to somebody else. And who knows, like maybe there will be some opportunity for you to do that because that's how I got them. And they've served me quite well. That's how I got the school bus. The last thing is, like, listen, this is kind of like your way out, right? The tools we're going to learn today, this is not going to be, nobody said this is going to be easy, right? This isn't me sitting and talking to you. You're going to have to engage. And also, it could be a bit painful. Like, we're going to dig into some stuff. We're going to be talking about stress and anxiety. And for some people, man, just talking about stress and anxiety can be a little tough. So just as like a quick trigger warning, if talking about stress and anxiety is going to be too much for you, if you're not in the place for that today, just watch the recording later. Come back some other time. You'll still get the material, but like maybe you're just not in the headspace to like get into that today. But if you are, I'm telling you, I'm going to give you a tool. It's going to change. It changed my life. Could change your life. Highly recommend it. I mean, listen, most of you guys are just going to spend most of the time saying that guy's got a great beard, but some of you guys are going to walk away from here with a tool that's going to be like, right? Okay, cool. Let's get into that. Okay, that was the first part. That took 3 minutes. I have less than 3 hours in this one. I only have an hour. We're going to get it done though. The next thing I'm going to do is a magic trick. That's right, a magic trick. I want you guys, somebody just jump in. I'm not even going to call on you. This is going to be a cacophony. No, you know what? Raise your hand. Raise your hand. I'll call on you. What is something that stresses you out? Get ready. It's Ashley Gonzalez. She still had her hand up from earlier. So I'm calling you, Ashley. I see you. What's something that stresses you out? This is a magic trick, guys.
School.
School. Good. School. Oh, yeah. And by the way, I wanted to do it in like 1 or 2 words. So you killed it with 1 word. School. Boom. I'm just right. Okay, cool. What's something else? I saw somebody put money in the chat. Love that. Josephine, what do you got? It's Taylor.
Something new.
Something new. Like the future, like what's going to happen, change, the future, right? That sort of thing.
Nah, maybe
Something.
Just coming to a new job.
New job, work. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm with you. Eric, what do you got? Speaking to people, right? Working with friends and family, time, okay, got it. Eric, what do you got? Eric, you with me? Or leadership stresses you out? Interesting.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What stresses you out, man? 1 or 2 words.
1 or 2 words. Public speaking.
Public speaking stresses you out. Okay, that's kind of like the future, right? I'm kind of with you. Anybody else? What else stresses you guys out? I think I saw some stuff in the chat. 1 or 2 words here. Speaking time crunches, that's work. I saw some money. Poor leadership, that's like other people. Like other people can stress you out. Anybody here been stressed out about, I don't know, their significant other? That.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool, Ashley, I see it. Love playing it. Anybody else, guys? That engine's revving. We're trying to jump the Grand Canyon. Somebody's got to play full out. Woodrow, what stresses you out? Sports, like just like the idea of sports, or like kids. Yeah, family. Yeah, love to see it. Okay, cool. Here's where the big reveal goes. Whoa, Woodrow, you're echoing this too much. Okay, big reveal. I'm going to stand up. I'll be back in less than 7 seconds. Being on camera, this maybe not be the seminar for you. Just go ahead and hike out because we're all on camera. It's going to be fun if you're on camera. Okay, cool. Hang on. Boom, 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 boom. Look at this. I put this up here earlier. What are we talking about? Look at this. Anybody read that? No, you can't. Oh, there it is. Work, money, relationships, health, the future. Oh my gosh. Look at that. All right. Magic trick complete. Did he do it? He did it. Wait, how did I do that, huh? How did I guess? By the way, if I asked you what makes you happy, guess what you'd probably say? Money, relationships, the future. It's the same stuff. And I guess the thing I'm going to tell you is if you're going to feel special about how stressed out you are, the least you can do is be original. Give me something we haven't heard before, because it turns out, and this is true, we're all stressed out about the same stuff. We're all stressed out about money, about family, about the future. No, but who likes public speaking except for that really weird guy in the blue shirt with 2 thumbs? Right? People are stressed out about the same thing. And you guys don't even need to hear the stats. Y'all know it. A lot of y'all are college students. Man, it's everywhere, right? I mean, 60% of college, this isn't like 2019, by the way, when I first did this. 60% of college students reported feeling overwhelmingly anxious in the last year. 50% overwhelmed in the last week. Depression rates have doubled since 2000. You guys know all the stats, right? I don't even need to tell you that. But maybe I can tell you about a time I was stressed out. You guys up for that? We're cool? Yeah? You guys want to raise your hand? Be like, yeah, I'm up for that. Let's hear about your stress, man. No? Nobody else wants to hear it? Bethany wants to hear it. All right, cool. I only need one. And I'll talk. All right, here we go. You guys heard about me being an international arms dealer, right? That was in the intro when I sold swords to Canada. You get it?
Mhm.
Selling swords across borders, huh? Yeah, they're medieval arms, but they're ours, right? All right, respect it. So here's the deal. When I got into that business, I had I had a couple of successes in life, right? I had, had a clothing company. I'm actually wearing one of the shirts. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go buy some web-based businesses. How hard could that be? I go to my friends and my family and I go and, pass the hat. And everyone's like, hey, that guy had some success. So that clothing business, let's back him to do it. Man, I raised this money in 48 hours. I didn't get a no. Everyone's like, yeah, I'm on board. I tell you, I go out, I would look around for a couple companies and I'm not saying the reason we bought the company was so I could introduce myself at a cocktail party as an international arms dealer, but it didn't hurt the cause. You know what I mean? And so we buy the business, right? And man, we're growing it. All of a sudden, Amazon starts selling swords 2 months later. And that's not good, right? Business goes down 40%. That's not good. I had just taken money from my friends and my family and the people I care the most about in the world to buy this business. And it wasn't like a small amount of money to me at the time. I am like unconsolable, right? Lowest time in my life. I started getting gray hair. I started pulling my hair out. I wouldn't leave bed oftentimes. I couldn't get out of bed. I just didn't want to face the day. I was eating a lot, not exercising at all. And all I could think about was I'm going to have to go to the people I respect most in the world and tell them that I lost all their money. I was pretty stressed out, right? But I'm going to pause there, right? We're going to get back to that story. Don't worry, the tools are coming, but we're going to pause there for a second. Here's what was happening to me in that moment, right? By the way, who is so good at being stressed out? By show of hands, who is so good at being stressed out that they can be stressed out about nothing at all? Anybody? Yeah, love to see it. Man, you guys are good, but you're not original, right? It turns out that the brain is hardwired to be stressed. But let me tell you why. It's because what is stress? Super easy. This is, by the way, I don't know if Woodrow sent this. There's a handout that goes with this. Maybe in the chat box, maybe it's in one of the emails you got. But he's even pulling it up for me. Hey, what is stress? Boom, I've got an equation on there. Pretty straightforward. Don't need a math major for this. Stress is fear. It's the fear of having less, the fear of losing something, or the fear of never being something that you're supposed to be. It's like, I'm not going to meet expectations, right? For me, it was the fear of losing investors' money, of not being who they thought I was, right? Of never being successful at business, of losing all of my money, right? And that fear stressed me out. But here's the deal: like, fear is like a natural thing. In fact, if you think about, you've got three dudes or girls or some mixture of the two, or anybody in between, standing at the side of a forest, right? Caveman times. And what do we see in the forest? One person sees all the trees, right? Just a bunch of trees and foliage. The other person sees the trees and foliage, but also notices the saber-toothed tiger running at them, right? That person turns around and says, I don't want anything to do with the saber-toothed tiger, runs back to the cave. The other guy, his nose is in the trees. Who's going to live? Like, we are evolutionarily programmed to be afraid, to find things to be afraid of. And like I said earlier, even if there's nothing to be afraid of, it was a response that we needed for a long time. But saber-toothed tigers have been extinct for like 50,000 years, and I think we're good on that one, right? But that doesn't mean that the mental response hasn't been programmed in there. All right, we're gonna do a little breakout. We're gonna try to do a breakout session. I'm optimistic. We're gonna break into groups of two, and if you look on the left side of that handout, you'll see some questions. If you don't have the handout, I hope you can find it, but you can just jot these down real quick. The first is, what's something that stresses you out? And then the second is, what are you really afraid of? The other is, and then between that, I want you to think about your physiology. What does your physiology mean? That means, like, how are you moving? Listen to remember how I was moving about when I was dealing with the sword company. I'm in bed. I'm not leaving bed, right? I'm pulling my hair out. What am I focused on? All I can focus on is the consequences of fail. I believe, like, I have lost the money of all of the people, and what's the language I'm using? I'm saying, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna be able to do this. Like, I've failed on this. So take a moment. We're gonna break you up into groups, and we're gonna go through those questions with each other. One person's gonna go first. You're gonna have only 120 seconds. Then the next person's going to go with no prompt from me, because I don't think I can, like, break into all your breakout sessions and say, time to switch. You're going to have 120 seconds. I want you to share what's something you're actually afraid of. This is the hard part, by the way, guys. It gets to rainbows and unicorns after this, I promise. But during this hard part, just play full out, work with the other person, turn your camera on, and interact with them. All right, Woodrow, whenever you're ready, throw it to breakout. Especially like just mic drop. Oh my gosh, he did it. No, it's not yet.
So some of our groups might have three, so don't panic.
You have three. You only have 90 seconds each, which is plenty of time to get through those four questions. You might want to write them down in advance, by the way, so that you can engage with each other while doing that. Woodrow, are you breaking the outs? Woodrow?
Okay, so momentarily, you should be randomly placed in a breakout room. Hopefully it doesn't break. Didn't break it.
Nope, you got this.
Okay, so hi, breakout people. How's it going? Who's there? Lisa? You there? Okay, she was there. Okay, hello. Hello, people in breakout room. So Emily, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, hi. Are we all in a breakout room?
I'm not too sure. I have like 3 different notifications.
Okay. So right now we're in the breakout room phase. And were y'all there for the first part of Hunter's presentation? So I can find a breakout room. Okay, well, we're going to go back to the regular session here in just a moment. So I'm going to close this. Okay, so we're all coming back to the regular thing. I know some of you had some great breakout chats. My apologies if I interrupted your chat. I just want to try to make sure everybody can come back. So hopefully some of you were able to meet with your folks. People are in the process of coming back to the general chat.
Woodrow, I got it.
All
Good
right.
technology, good work technology for most of us, some of us. Hey, who
Okay.
wants to share? Let's do it for anybody who didn't get to participate. Who wants to share something that stresses them out? You can raise a hand if you want. You're only in front of 50 people, so they're all naked. They're all naked. Is it going to be? I'll call on somebody. There you go, Cooper. What's up, man?
I'd say definitely one of the things that stresses me out is kind of just juggling a bunch of things that I have going on, in life, whether that be school, family issues, things like that. But just, not taking something one step at a time definitely stresses me out.
Yeah, just like everything going on at once. And maybe you can talk to me about what you're like afraid of there. Like, what are you actually afraid of when you think about that?
Probably being afraid of letting people down, kind of like, important people in my life that have this image for me or plan for me and kind of just, not following that specifically.
letting people down, right? Never being enough, not meeting expectations. By the way, who can see Cooper's physiology when he does this, by the way? Think about the tone of his voice. And guys, I know this is painful, so thanks for playing along. This is the hard part. I promise it's rainbows and unicorns after this. But you can see Cooper, he's not talking like he's, like he just won the lottery, right? Shoulders a little slumped, eyes a little bit down, ain't exactly got a big grin on his face, right? That's the physiology of that moment. And what do you focus on? What do you focus on when you're thinking about all of these things that are going on, family, school, all of that? What's your focus?
Do you mean like kind of in the positive or negative aspect?
On the negative aspect, like what are you focusing on, and when you're thinking about that stress, that fear? This is the hard part, guys. This is the pain part. Like, what are you focusing on when you're thinking about that?
Probably say focusing on, I guess trying to get through it, or pushing it past me. But you're really just focusing on the bad things whenever that's happening to you, and how that can affect your life and people around you, things like that.
Anybody just feel that weight? Like it just feels like he's pulling a weight up a hill, right? And that's, it's focusing on how am I going to get past all this, right? And think about the language, right? And I wouldn't even ask you, but like the language he's using, right? I got to get past all this stuff. It's all, I've got to, how am I going to the language, guys? Hey, Coop, thanks a lot, man. Just shake it off a bit. Like, that was tough. Don't worry. I'm telling you, I got a tool. It's going to blow your mind. Could be, and I think you're going to get it. Everyone else still hung up on the beard, but Coop's going to get it for sure. Here's the deal, man. Like, most people are subject to the whims of their emotions. Like, if you guys notice this, like, most people are kind of on the roller coaster. They're upset. They're going to be upset as long as they are until they're distracted by something else. But if you guys ever noticed that, like, there are some number of people who just seem to be lucky. Like, it feels like they are kind of getting green lights everywhere they go. Like, there's some amount of people who are just like, I don't know, 0.2% of people who are just operating at like a higher level of energy and positivity. Anybody ever seen that? Like, give me a hands up if you've ever seen somebody or know somebody like that, right? Like, those people are out there, right? What if I told you that those people do know something? Like, they actually have a couple of tools. They've got like the admin passwords to the software that runs their brain, right? And I can give you those tools. Would you play full out for the next 24 minutes if I gave you if I said, hey, I can give you, if you absolutely commit to me for the next 24 minutes, that I will just pay attention, figure out what's going on, I can give you probably one, maybe two tools to live life in that state. Anybody? Nobody wants that? All right. Well, you guys haven't left yet, so let's do it, right? You get hands up if you want, or just give me a smile, or just like do one of these, I'm into it. All right. I saw a cup there. That's it. Love to see it, Robert. Love to see it, Coop. Let's do it. Rock and roll. All right, guys. We're going to do here. First thing we're going to talk about is happiness. That's where we're going, right? Happiness, fulfillment is what it is, right? Like positive energy, positation. Listen, science came up with something. This isn't me. This is science. So don't think I came up with this. In fact, none of this is original content, right? I'm a boring corporate CEO, but science, those people are thinking, and they came up with something. They've done some thinking about this happiness question. Turns out there are two types of happiness. I know. Only two. Only two. The first type of happiness is happiness in your life, right? That's like, I am happy because right now I am on a roller coaster. I am happy because I am eating pepperoni pizza with pineapple. Sorry for anybody that offended. I realize that's a controversial topic. I am happy because I have got an endorphin rush from running a 10K. I am happy because, like, I am happy in the moment with what I'm doing, kind of type 1 happiness, right? The second type of happiness or fulfillment is I am happy with my life. I've got the job title I like, and I've got a partner, and I've got a good I'm living in the type of house that I want to live in, and I'm on the right trajectory with family, and I'm happy with who I am and the significance of who I am, right? Not the significance, but also like I'm happy with the family whatever, right? The job I've got, the amount of money I make, all of that. So I don't know if I could do a poll, but we're going to do a hand raise, and I don't even know if I can count them, but I'm going to kind of do it by eyeball. How many of you guys, there's one of these that's more important. How many of you guys think that it's more important to have happiness in your life? Thinking roller coasters, eating the right food, sort of being happy in your life in that moment. Show of hands. Cool. Yep. All right, maybe a third of us. Okay, cool. How many of you guys think that it's happiness with your life that's more important? I'm happy with my job. I'm happy with the amount of money I make. I'm happy with my health. I'm happy with my the relationships I have. How many think that one's more important? Okay, cool. Like maybe a third, and then maybe a third didn't answer. So I'm gonna say it's pretty well split, right? Okay, are you guys ready? There's a right answer to that question. And again, not me. This is science. Don't ask me. I got this from science. The truth is that if you are happy in your life, you are much more likely to find happiness with your life, because we are more effective when we are happy in our life, when we find fulfillment in our life, when we are living life, and this is the key word, in an empowered state. By the way, again, you want the science on this, look it up, but I can prove it to you real quick. Do you realize that like NFL teams win at home 60% of the time? Because they're being supported. They're saying, I am great. The Jumbotron's saying, I am great, right? It just turns out that when you're in a more empowered state, you are more likely to be effective. Oh, that's easy, Hunter. I'll just jump into an empowered state. Don't worry. I'll get there. I promise. I've got the tools. I got the keys. They're coming. Now, I do have that tool. It's going to make a huge difference, right? It's practiced by the Buddhists. It's practiced by, psychologists like Viktor Frankl. And listen, like I get it. This is like a virtual seminar. I've never done this virtually. It's a Teams meeting. Like 10% of you guys turn this thing on and checked out, after you put your hand up, because you're still rocking it up. Love that, right? That's cool. You probably get your extra credit. I don't know. I hope you don't, right? I hope you just leave. But for the ones of you guys who are like, oh, 30 minutes, guy's got a CEO, he's got a school bus. Those people I'm going to help out here, right? I'm going to give you guys this tool. And if you take it, it can literally dictate the success of your life. It did for me. And that's why I'm doing it. I'm not here. Obviously, I'm not getting paid to be here, right? I am literally here because I want to give this tool. That's it. I have a whole other job. But first, we're not going to get there yet. It starts with the Buddhist theory of the two arrows. Okay, there's like a Buddhist word for this, but I can't pronounce it. So it's called the two arrow theory. Here's the deal. At some point in time, you'll be walking down the path of life, metaphorically, and you are going to get hit by an arrow. Stuff's going to happen to you. That's not ideal, right? Almost swore there, didn't. Thank you. You're welcome, Woodrow. Don't cut me out yet. That arrow is going to happen to us, man. Just so you know, and I don't want to bring you guys down here, but everybody is going to die. We're all going to die, right? You're going to get into a car accident. You're going to get, you're going to have bad days at work, whatever. At some point in time, bad things are going to happen to you, and you can't control it, right? That's just the facts of life. But this is why it's called theory. Wait, two arrow theory is whenever an arrow is fired, two arrows are fired. And in life, you can't control that first arrow. You're going to get hit. Stuff's going to happen. But that second arrow, that's your reaction. And your reaction, you do have some control over, right? You do have, with that second arrow comes the possibility of change. All right, this is the most important thing I'm going to say today, right? By far, most important thing I'm going to say today. The meaning that you assign to the events, interactions, and outcomes that happen in your life will determine the quality of your life. And you get to choose that meaning. I'll prove it to you. I had an uncle who was in Afghanistan, right? He was there with his brother and his friend, right? And him and his brother and his friend are driving down the road in Afghanistan, and they're in a Humvee, and they run over a IUD, improvised IED. If they ran over an IUD, that would be a different issue. They run over an IED and it explodes and it kills the friend. So the two brothers still alive, right? And guy dies, kind of a bad death on the side of the road. That sucks, right? Brothers came home. They didn't suffer any injuries. Just one guy got it. They come home. And one of the brothers, Uncle One, comes home and he says, man, the world is a dangerous place, right? I mean, you could be just driving along the road. All of a sudden, IUD blows up. IUD don't blow up, hopefully. IUD blows up and you die. Like, I can't deal with this level of risk. I don't want to be driving, right? So the guy didn't leave his house, basically. Found a job, worked from home, that's fine. But he was afraid, when he didn't want to sort of ruffle any feathers. So at work, he ended up sort of not pushing for that next job, not a promotion. He actually never really wanted to talk to girls because he was just kind of afraid that he'd get turned down and he'd feel bad again. So he didn't. And he actually was so sort of worried about what was going to happen in the short term, right? He was so worried about the life being dangerous that he died pretty young, unfortunately, of heart-related complications. Now, the other brother was also in that Humvee, and he said, man, life is short. I better get the most out of every day because you never know when you're going to run over an IED. He came home and started his own business. And it was a medical business that he ended up selling for $200 million, right? He met the love of his life twice. I mean, the guy, became a pilot, right? He lived life to the fullest. He lives to this day. He's killing it. The guy's having a great time, right? And my point is, the same event, the same first arrow happened to both guys. But one of them chose a meaning that was disempowering, which is that the world is dangerous. I need to avoid danger. And the other chose a meaning that was empowering, right? And that determined the quality of their lives going forward. Now, not all of us can have that one transformational moment, but it can be a series of micro moments. It can be a decision that every interaction, and you can find, I promise you, because I do it, an empowering meaning in any negative action, right? You can see a couple of things on the right, because if you ask yourself not why is this happening to me, but how is life happening for me in this moment? And that's the big pivot, right? Maybe the most important thing I say today. Why is life happening to me, or how is life happening for me? That totally changes the meaning. I'll give you again, if people die in your life, it's like, what did I learn from that person? Right? There's a couple examples in that. I don't know, Woodrow, if you can pull that thing up again. But that test is too hard. You can take the meaning of you failed a test. Hey, maybe it was too hard, or I could study more, right? Like I could, if I worked hard, I could do more. Maybe you take it the meaning of you talk to a girl and he or she didn't want, says no, or talk to a guy and she doesn't says no. I'm not that. I can't. Nobody wants to date me. Or you can say, listen, there's many possible partners. It's an numbers game. I'm gonna keep putting myself out there. My point is, you can determine. You can't always determine what happens, right? That first arrow, you can't decide on it, but you can often determine what the meaning you assign to it. You can always determine the meaning you assign to it. Let's talk about what the components of meaning are, because there's three, and I'm going to jump into these pretty quick because I'm like, this is a 3-hour lecture or 3-hour seminar, and I'm almost out. The first is physiology. Okay, we're all here. We're going to do this. We're going to shake it out. Everybody that's on the phone or on the video, I want you to quickly put yourself into a disempowered state. Just look at the faces on this video. There is not a single person smiling, right? I see people, just hands in head, right? Looking down. This sucks. In this state, are we effective? All right, now I want you to put yourself into an electric state, right? I want you to let's just stand up if you can. If you're in a place you can stand up, let's go, right? Do this motion. Ready? Just I mean, don't actually rip your shirt off. This is a family event, but like, let's go, baby. You know what I mean? Like I want you to bring some energy to this event, right? That's it. Yes. Like, put yourself in that state that says, I am going to take this mountain. You know what I mean? Like I am going to rip my shirt off and I am going to like go to, you know, like bring my sword, you know, like whatever it is for you, man. I'm gonna spike this ball down the volleyball court. I'm gonna go talk to that girl and she's gonna say yes. Whatever that looks like, put yourself in that state for just a second. I mean, look at the faces. Look at the smiles you see on camera right now, right? How long does it take to change your physiology? Like that, right? You went from an absolute bucket of sadness to, you guys are ready to follow me up a hill, right? What, because I asked you to? Hey, you can ask yourself too, man. You can ask yourself too. You can change your physiology, but this isn't some pump up, right? I'm not telling you to but motion equals emotion. If you want to change your physiology, the first thing you got to do is change your motion. The second thing is, okay, guys, this is going to be this is going to take like 15 seconds, but we're all going to do it, right? You're going to do it. I'm going to walk you through it step by step. I want you, everybody here, woosah, to close your eyes. In a second, you're going to open your eyes and you're going to perform an exercise. It's going to be very easy. It's not going to be like jumping jacks. It's not going to be like when we had to do that pump up thing where we're chasing up the hill. This exercise is going to be very straightforward. I want you to very quickly, in a second, not yet, don't jump the gun on me. I want you to look around, open your eyes, looking around, find everything that's blue. Everything you see that's blue, Only find the things that are blue and close your eyes. Close your eyes, close them. How many things did you count that were red? Where focus goes, you can open your eyes again. Where focus goes, energy flows. If you are looking for blue, you will see blue. If you buy a blue car, you're going to see a bunch of blue cars. You buy a Jeep, you're going to see a bunch of blue Jeeps, right? And this is true, by the way. Did you know that people drive on highways have disproportionately hit the telephone pole because they keep saying, I don't want to hit the telephone pole, and they steer right into it? Where focus goes, energy flows. The other is, and this is probably the most powerful force in human psychology, and definitely the most important thing I'm going to say all day. It's that the language that you use shapes your reality. The most powerful word in human psychology is I am. You say, I am weak, I am going to fail. Think about what you were saying earlier in that breakout. I am not good enough. I am not going to get whatever, right? But if you're saying, I am somebody who has faced adversity before, and it was but a worthy opponent. And the next time I face it, it will be yet another worthy opponent bested by yours truly. You know what I mean? Like, using that language, right, gets you to expand your comfort zone. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this, but I guess what a comfort zone is? Let me just write it down. This is you, right? You're the X on the back of this circle, right? And at some point in time, when you were born, there are things that are happening outside of your circle, right? You want to eat, right? And what do you want to do? How do you eat? Well, you decide you're going to try crying because it's the only thing you're born with. And crying gets you, to food, right? Crying gets you to getting picked up. It gets you to getting your diaper changed, right? Crying is a tool that you have that gets you to all of those things. Yeah? Boom. Now you've got this tool, it can get you all those things. But at some point in time in human psychology, you get to a point and there's something that crying won't do, right? It's out here. I don't know if you can see this, right? Boom, it's out here. It is I see a shiny thing across the floor and I got to pick it up, man. I got to put this shiny thing in my mouth or I am not going to be happy, right? And you cry and you cry and you cry, but your parents don't speak cry, so you can't get the shiny thing. You can't put it in your mouth. You can't find fulfillment. It's tragic. It's tragic. It's tragic. You got to figure something else out. Guess what? You try crying. It doesn't work. Boom. Next thing you try is crawl. Crawl gets you to that shiny thing. Bang. Look at this. Got you the shiny thing. And look at this. It gets you all this other stuff. It gets you to electrical outlet. It gets you to, over to your brother to get picked up. It gets you to, all these other things that are now within your much larger circle of things that you know how to do, right? But then next thing you know, oh my gosh, it's it's calculus. Like I don't know the progression of babies, but I assume calculus is next. And calculus is way out here. And no matter how hard you cry, or no matter how hard you crawl, you cannot get to calculus because it's got differential equations, and those aren't the same as crawling. And you try it, but guess what? At some point in time, you figure out that you just take the exponent and you bring it to the side, and I don't really remember, but you figure it out, right? And now you have a whole new realm of stuff you know how to do. That's literally the only way we grow, is by doing things outside of our comfort zones. And if the idea that life and adversity is facing you on a daily basis is a problem for you, you haven't been living very long, because we are all facing adversity, and the ideal amount of adversity to success is not zero. I will tell you quickly that it was in this state. I got this tool at the bottom of my life as an international arms dealer. It was then that things were most tragic for me, that I decided to do something I hadn't done in many years, and that was go for a run. Guys, I ran 600 yards, and I collapsed. I mean, I was at the, I wasn't sedentary. I was absolutely I was not my best shape of my life, but man, did it change my state. I went from being in bed all day to running 600 yards. And I'll tell you, I was breaking down in sweat. I almost passed out, definitely vomited, right? But it opened up the opportunity, right? That break in physiology opened up the opportunity for me to say, you know what? If all I'm doing is focusing on the problem and how it's going to make me feel when I have to call my investors and tell them that I lost their money, I'm never going to focus on the solutions. And if where my focus goes, my energy is going to flow, right? So sure enough, what do? I start to think about solutions. I start to say, what can I do that Amazon can't? I can provide value that Amazon can't, right? Amazon you can just buy stuff there, but I can give you expertise. And I wasn't an expert in swords, but I can find experts. I can market in ways that Amazon can't. I'll market on adult websites. They can't do that. I find these ways that that Amazon can't do because they're big corporate, right? These nimble ways, and we clawed back, man. For 2 years, my wife and I work. We forfeit our entire investment, and we recover 80% of our investors' money, which was a huge win, right? And it all started with changing my physiology, and then it was changing my focus from why is this happening to me to how is this happening for me. And if I think back now, right, I'm dealing with much bigger amounts of money as a CEO today. And when adversity strikes, right, when COVID hit, when oil was at negative 37, instead of going to that place of panic, it took me 90 seconds to say, what am I learning, right? How is this happening for me? Okay, guys, I want you to take 1 minute, and I want you to write down the stuff from the right side of that. Take the same thing that stresses you out earlier, right? And I want you to do it from the right side. I'm going to put it in the chat. Boom. Look at this. Chang. All right. What is an empowering meaning or belief you could have instead, right? So Cooper, it's like, hey, one example for Cooper would be like, hey, this is I'm being overwhelmed by too many things in life. I've got work, I've got relationships. It's an empowering belief could be like, man, I am going to be unbelievably dominant as an adult because I will have so many arrows in my quiver. I am learning at an outrageous rate to deal with massive amounts of adversity. Do you guys realize how much adversity benefits you later in life? People who have no adversity, when the hard time comes and it matters, those people crumble. But the people who have dealt with adversity in the past, you realize that how much CEOs over-index for being orphans? Massively, right? It is the people who have had adversity early in their life that are most successful later on. Okay, so we're going to do the breakout again. We're going to do it for 3 minutes this time. You only have 90 seconds. But I want you to then think about how does your body move when you think about that? If it's like, I am going to be, I'm going to get through this, and no matter what, and I'm going to have the ability to crush the challenges that face me. I'm going to, what's your focus? I'm focused on what I'm getting out of it, right? I'm focused on what I'm learning. I'm focused on who I can be as a result of the challenges that I'm having today. And what's the difference in language, right? Instead of the language saying, hey, I'm I'm overwhelmed, I'm burdened, I've got I am getting stronger. I am learning, right? You're changing your language on this, guys. This is not a pump up. This is literally how do you change the programming in your brain to take that first arrow and make it into your arrow, put it back into your quiver, right? All right, Woodrow, hit me with the breakouts.
Okay, our capacity to do breakouts has been impaired. So
Okay,
can we just do this as a large group?
we're going to do as a large group. All right, everyone take a minute. We're going to take 60 seconds and write down the answer to those 4 questions. You can put it or you can just write it down, whatever works for you. But don't just do it in your head. Don't do it in your head. I'm telling you, get a pen and paper, write in cursive or print or wingdings, whatever works for you. First thing I want you to do is think about that thing that stressed you out, right? What is an empowering meaning or belief you could have instead? And again, if you're having trouble up above, you can see the difference between disempowering and empowering meaning, right? Instead of, again, I have a relative that passed away, right? It's like, you know what? Life is precious, right? Instead of, this is, I had I'm trying to think of other examples here. Instead of, I failed this test and so I'm stupid. It's, hey, I failed this test, but guess what? I know that I can outwork anybody. I can control. What can I control? You can always control your attitude, your gratitude, and your effort, right? And it is in an empowered state that you will be more effective. No question. You will always be more effective when you are in an empowered state. All right, next, physiology. Write it down. What is your physiology like when you do this? Your shoulders back, breathing deep, your voice feeling like it, You got a little, maybe, okay, don't do it too much. I thought I saw somebody with a smile on their face. Guys, you smile too much, they won't let me do this again. You can't be having too good of a time here. We're learning. We don't want to have a good time while we're doing that, right? Only bad times while learning, guys. What are you focusing on? You focusing on solutions, on how life is happening for you, what you're learning, what's your language, right? What are you saying about yourself? What's your I am words here? All right, boom. Give me back to the presents, Woodrow. And anybody, raise your hand. Pepsi will send you a jet if you raise your hand and participate. Just call Pepsi. Who's it going to be? Anybody? Bethany.
Sorry. I think something that stresses me out is maybe not focusing enough or being efficient enough with my family when I get to have time with them. And so an empowering belief that you were able to just kind of help me come to is I'm always learning how to be a better and more present parent.
Very good. And look at your face. It's electric. Your face is lighting up. I love it. All right. And what are you focusing on, right? What are you focusing on there as opposed to when you're in a disempowered state on that?
I think it's the learning piece of it. I can't be perfect all the time, but at least I'm learning how to be better.
Amazing. Anybody else? Corey, you want to do yours real quick?
Oh, sure. Like I had like people's expectations really not at me, but I can work through this. I can meet the adversity. I can get it done.
Not only that, but if it's other people's expectations, right? Whose problem is that?
Well, it's theirs.
No kidding, right? And it's like I am, if the only way you're happy is if other people are you meet their expectations, it's totally out of your control. But if the way you can be happy, if it's like I am making progress, I am growing, I am learning here, right? You're gonna be happy a lot more. And if you're happy in your life, you're more likely to be happy with your life. All right, guys, I got another 5 minutes here. I'm gonna do it in 7. Okay, so the last part of this, there's only one more piece, and that is to create an empowering environment. You've done it. You've changed your meaning. This tool, it's coming. You're going to see it at the bottom. It's how you're going to get famous, right? Create an empowering environment. First is to take immediate action, right? Celebrate that progress. And that's part of it, right? Every time if you only celebrate when I'm already making $200,000, guess what? You'll never make $200,000. If you celebrate every time you get a raise, every time you sort of make your way towards it, right? If you only celebrate when I'm at, if I'm like, listen, I'm a bit husky, right? If I only celebrated when I was at 180 pounds, right, I'll never get there. But if I celebrate every progress on the way, or even just the habits, right? Every time I eat healthy, I'm way more likely to be able to get to whatever goals I have. The next is, guys, this tool, this weapon. Oh boy, I tell you talk to like major CEOs, they all do this, right? It's gratitude. Gratitude, baby. You cannot be simultaneously fearful and grateful. That's true. That's just science. That's not me. That's the most important thing I'm going to say today. You cannot be simultaneously fearful and grateful. If you are in a disempowered state, think about some stuff you're grateful for. That is helping to cultivate that environment for you. Next is surround yourself with people who are curious, man. People who have a growth mindset. We are like the sum total of our 5 closest friends. Obviously, meditation's a tool that works for me. Some people do exercise. The other it's called mantras, man. What are your I am words? If you're saying I am strong, I am powerful, man, it's been proven by people who are calling themselves scientists that you can be more effective when you're using strong I am words. And I'll tell you, here comes this tool, right? We talked about it. We promised it. I've given it to you all the way through, but I have a little acronym for you. It's going to help you be famous like Kim K. It starts with the fear, man. It starts with, what are you feeling? It's okay, guys. We're all feeling the same stuff. We're all afraid of the same stuff. Remember that magic trick? That's actually not that magical. I don't know if everyone caught that, because it's the same every time. Everyone is feeling a fear of not being enough, fear of failure, fear of for their family or for their health. What are you actually like? That's what's stressing you out. What are you actually afraid of? And the second is, go ahead, man, accept it. That first arrow, it's not about ignoring it. It's not about pushing it down. It's about saying, you know what? It's okay. It's okay to feel this way. It's okay to be struck by arrows. Everybody else is. And again, like, if the idea that challenges are happening in your life, like, that's like, life is a series of challenges that we face and overcome, and it's way better than the alternative, which is no challenges. That's boring or dead, right? Next is the meaning. And this is where you can really unlock, guys. It's using that triad that we talked about. It's up top, right? Physiology, focus, and language. What is a different meaning I could have about this situation, this thing's that's stressing me out, right? It's like, if you can change the meaning, the quality of your life will change. Will change, exactly. And in fact, this is good, right? The more you're able to go outside of the circle, this is a big one, guys. Probably the most important thing I'm going to say today. The quality of your life is proportional to the amount of uncertainty you're willing to tolerate. Think about my uncle and my other uncle, right? One is not able to tolerate uncertainty. He's too afraid of the world, and he has a very small life, and he dies young. The other takes risk, and if you can change this language, guys, most important thing I'll say today for sure, if you can change, I'm either going to fail and the consequences of failure are catastrophic, or I'm going to succeed. If you can change the language on that to, I'm either going to succeed or I am going to learn, then you will get so many more reps in the batting cages, and you're going to be a better batter. The last is, guys, create an environment that pulls you towards what you want to be. Gratitude journals, meditations, exercise. Anybody want to give me one more sort of like something they learned here? We have less than 2 hours left. Anybody want to give me something that they learned here today, something they could take away and use? Wow, that breaks my heart.
Like, I am making progress. This is awesome.
That's it. You're making progress. Love it. And that's it. Celebrate the progress, man. Celebrate the progress. Like, make your happiness like criteria. I'm moving in the right direction. Coop, what do you got?
Kind of just like, if you have a better outlook on things that are happening, you'll have a better outcome.
For sure, man. You're way more likely to be successful if you're in an empowered state, right? If your physiology, your focus, and your language are all empowered. Who else, guys? Who else wants to give me
Yeah,
one?
Hunter. I mean, he's also said, there's a powerful meaning in any negative action.
That's true. That's true. I mean, again, if you're focused on that post, you're going to run right into it. Robert, what do you got?
I think it's important, the reinforcement of the physiology piece. We all get bogged down or, eat like crap at the office, or instead of taking the 30 minutes to go for a walk, sit and work another 30 minutes. I think that's a big deal. So thank you for
And
that.
here's the other one. And this is the other one, man. Guess what? Sometimes you're going to make it, you're not going to, it works the same the other way. If the criteria for feeling awful is like, oh, I didn't work out today, so I am a bad person or whatever, you know what I mean? It's like, no, it's like, it's okay. Like, you stretch that night before you get in bed, right? Make some progress. If the criteria for feeling awful is very easy, you're going to feel awful all the time. Anaisha? Yeah, sorry. Oh, did I not see you jump in? I think I did. Yeah, maybe not.
I've basically learned I need to change my mindset. I've been treating myself very negatively, and I need to be more positive.
It is, you are going to be more happy. You're going to be more likely to reach the outcomes that you want if you're engaging in challenges in an empowered state. All right, I'll give you one more. It's the most important thing I'll say today. I mean, and I mean it for sure. Right? You guys probably got nothing else, but if you get this, this will change it. And then I promise we're going to be out of here in the next definitely less than 2 hours. It is that if you want to get anything you want out of life, I got a 4-step program. First is know what your outcome is. We make so many decisions without knowing what our outcome is, without knowing what we want to get out of it. Like, we're doing it because our parents tell us to, or because it seems like what we're supposed to do, or because, like, we're being affected by our emotions or whatever. If you don't know what your outcome is, you will never get there. Right? A man with a plan beats a man without a plan every time. What is it? An idiot with a plan beats a genius without one. Right? Know your outcome. And this is the next piece, guys. Get leverage over yourself. Get leverage over yourself. Let me tell you what I mean by that. I want you to say, what would life be like if I reached that outcome? Right? If I made that pivot. And more importantly, like, what would life like? What give yourself some negative leverage, man. What's going to happen if I don't? Like, not just if I don't get there, right? But if I don't try, what, like, if I can't pivot this belief, and I just live in it. I mean, some people are pretty good at handling pain, right? Some people, man, they live their whole lives in pain. Like, if you want to do that, man, go for it. I bet you. I mean, you guys are strong people. You guys could do that, or you can decide not to, right? And I'm not saying you can just, but I just gave you some tools, right? They're in that handout. Then take massive action. Know your outcome. Get leverage over yourself. Take massive action towards it. Go for it. Evaluate results, and if you didn't get what you want, change your approach, man. Take another stab at it. All right, with that, I really appreciate everyone, man. You guys played it full out. I saw a lot of videos. I saw some hands. I saw people in the chat. You guys were rock stars. I feel like we jumped the Grand Canyon today. Kyle, I don't know if it's you or Woodrow that's going to send us off and tell us what's going on next. But thanks so much for playing full out. I really appreciate everyone's time.
Yeah,
Well,
Hunter, that's
thank
awesome,
you,
man. Thanks for
Hunter.
all the nuggets. Go ahead, Woodrow.
Yeah, thank you so much, Hunter. And I know we're a little bit over time, but I think all of you will agree this was really, really outstanding. We got some real tools that we're going to be able to apply to our everyday life. And I hope you take these tools and you use them. You're going to be able to follow up with Hunter. Hunter's right here in Victoria, and he'd be more than happy to meet with any of you, students, faculty, and staff. I know some of you faculty, for instance, want to have people like this in your classrooms and do assignments. Hunter's excellent. Staff, you might have some things in your departments where you could have Hunter come in and help you with. I know he'd be more than happy. And students, how many times, students, do we talk about building your network, finding those mentors? Hunter is right here in your backyard. Do not miss out and trying to follow up with him. I'll have all of his contact information. You can always contact me, but you're going to be seeing Hunter more, right? He's part of our Bridge to Brilliance all the time. But we are so, so grateful, Hunter, for this time. Kyle, how would you like to put a nice bow on this?
Yeah, this is awesome. Yeah, reach out to Hunter. He'd be a great mentor and great someone to really lean on. But guys, can't wait till next month for Bridge to Brilliance. Y'all take care. Take these nuggets that Hunter gave to us, and let's push forward.
All right, everybody. We'll see you next time. Tell your friends and family about Bridge to Brilliance. We'll be back next month with more of it. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a good evening.
Thanks, guys.